Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.
Hello and welcome back to Undercurrent as National Fraud Week draws to a close, and more tips on how to not get stung throughout the second half of our show. Well, next up, like me, are you of the opinion that the sexualisation of young girls in the media may just be going a little bit too far? Well, next up, Lauren Bellini investigates.
My mama told me when I was young, we're all superstars. She rolled my hair, put my lipstick on, in a glass of her boudoir.
The concept of the sexualisation of females has become more and more prominent in recent years. With the child beauty pageant phenomenon in America, the adultification of childlike characters represented in Asian pop culture, and even the 10-year-old French Vogue model controversy, this flaunting of the female image is constantly circulating throughout the digital age. Winthrop Professor Donna Chung from the University of WA says concerns about what is a sexually attractive body and appearance is shifting back earlier and earlier.
It's kind of been a downward creep, so there's always been that pressure for teenagers around appearance and, you know, branded clothing, makeup, all of those kind of things, appearing attractive to boys. But what's happened is there's been a creep kind of downwards towards encouraging younger and younger girls to kind of take on that sort of young adult imagery.
In its most simple terms, sexualisation is the idea that adult sexuality is forced upon young children before they are mentally, emotionally or physically capable of dealing with it.
What we've got is companies marketing, you know, adult-like products to children in a different way than has previously been the case.
Chrissy Westwood, owner of Chrissy Westwood Modelling Agency, says modelling can easily be mistaken for sexualising young girls, but says her agency promotes self-confidence and elegance.
The agency's been open now for 26 years, 27 years, and we teach modelling, grooming and deportment, singing, drama. And the other side of the agency is casting, where we promote people for TV commercials, films, miniseries.
A lot of parents say, I've put my daughter into modelling for her self-confidence. And the thing is, in the early stages of modelling, it can be great for a kid's self-confidence.
I made her join modelling just to give her more confidence and just to accept her, appearance both physically and mentally.
Pressure to look sexually attractive is even present within the schoolyard, where young schoolgirls are concerned about having the right appearance and attire.
Yes, there is peer pressure for girls to look good at school because, say, if one girl starts to do her hairstyles really nicely or she starts to wear makeup, it's like other girls would be influenced to do the same because they want to feel as good as she does.
As a parent, do you think children are growing up too quickly?
I do think they're growing up too quickly, but they're growing up with the times. With Facebook, phones and the internet, it's affected our young kids of today, quite a fair bit.
I've seen girls scribble out their faces so it's more focused on their bodies, and just like a lot of girls in their bikinis, and I don't think it's really good.
When I was a kid, girls would have, and boys did things that they probably would regret, but no one ever found out about it, and it certainly wasn't public for the rest of their life. So I don't think anything's changed. I think the medium has changed and the permanency has changed.
What the digital age does is it gives us the opportunity to access a much wider range of images and ideas than what we would have had access to previously in past generations.
While it may be hard for parents to control what their children are exposed to out of the home, they do have control over the types of products and content they allow into their homes.
It's obviously the parents' responsibility. We can only control what happens indoors, like we can monitor their Facebook, we can see what they're actually accessing on the internet, but in respect of what happens, outdoors, that is very hard for us to control, unfortunately.
While it is understood that media and advertising companies make money from advertising to the tween market, they also have a social responsibility to be aware that the products they promote can have a negative impact. I'm Lauren Bellini reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, as National Fraud Week draws to a close, the WA Police and Consumer Protection would like to remind you that scammers are a lot more clever than you think. They'll often try and fool you with glossy websites, technical jargon, or posing as somebody that you know. And they'll also play on your emotions, so simply don't let them. Well, next up on Undercurrent, I would like to welcome back a very dear friend, Mr Nick Hayes, who's about to have a chat with Labor leader Mark McGowan.
Mark, can I start by congratulating you on your appointment as the WA State Leader. You've got some great energy and you're getting plenty of media coverage. Can you keep that energy up?
Well, I'm going to try to. It's a year till the next election, but basically I have to keep rolling out new ideas and new policies for the next year, and that's what I'm going to do.
So why are you a better alternative leader than Eric Ripper?
I don't think I'm better than Eric Ripper. I just think that my colleagues made a decision that we had to try something different. Eric did an excellent job, but the problem was that the polls weren't sort of showing how he was going. My job is to make us more competitive, and that's what I plan to do.
What is it that you bring to the table?
Well, I hope I bring energy, and I hope I bring new ideas. I hope I bring a positive approach. I'm not going to be a Tony Abbott style person who just opposes everything. I'm going to try to come out with new and interesting ideas that will improve the state and make life easier for families.
A very popular saying is that oppositions don't win government, governments lose. Where do you see the chinks in the armour with Colin Barnett's team?
I think it's a mix of both. I think the opposition has to be competitive and look like an alternative government, which is what we're doing. And on the other hand, the government has to be shown to be not caring about the needs of ordinary people, and I think that's pretty plain that this is the case in Western Australia. Mr Barnett and his team are pretty dismissive of a lot of the concerns of ordinary West Australians.
Federal Labor has hurt WA Labor. Can you see it getting better over the next 12 months?
Well, I hope so. The federal government does have difficulties in Western Australia, but we're different. We're a different team. We have different policies. We'll point out when we think there's deficiencies in their policies. They have to lift their game here as well.
In the next 12 months, what are you considering as being the big issues for the polls next year?
The biggest issue is making sure everyone shares in our state's success. There has been a massive increase in the cost of living on ordinary families in Western Australia, so we have to make sure that people feel like their lives are being made earlier, and in reality their lives are being made easier because of the actions of government. And that's not happening at the moment. That's my plan, to make people's lives a little bit easier to cope with all of the pressures that are on people. People vote for a whole range of reasons, and how they vote is influenced by a whole range of different things. My approach will be making life easier for families, making sure we focus on core service delivery in education, health and law and order, creating some economic reform opportunities for the state, and protecting our beautiful environment. They're my priorities. Mr Barnett's priorities will be different, but I will stick to my priorities and make sure people understand what they are. Mr Barnett was in the paper saying that he prefer overseas people to take West Australian jobs to West Australians. The cost of living on families is very big. He doesn't seem to care much about those basic issues that affect ordinary people. We've got a very good team of shadow ministers. I have a lot of confidence in their ability. Some very, very bright and committed people with a great vision for Western Australia. He has a different style to me. That's very much the case. But with a year to the next election, my team will be united and come up with good alternative policies for government.
Ben White's not sitting in the corner going, when's my chance?
Well, I doubt it, but he's a great friend of mine and a great shadow treasurer, and I'm sure he'll make an excellent treasurer if we win office. We've got some great candidates out there. We've got Rhys Whitby in Morley, a respected West Australian journalist. We've got Bob Kuchera in Mount Lawley, coming back to the fold, who had a very good political career and career in the police force. We've got good candidates all over the place that I think will impress West Australians.
Mark, if there was one message that you could send to the West Australian community ahead of this state election, what would it be?
The Liberal Party, I don't think they're a very caring government. Take a good look at Labor. We do offer a positive alternative to Mr Barnett. He has made your life more difficult. Our role is to make your life a little better.
Well, next on Undercurrent, a food lobby group here in Australia has called for left-handed people to finally be rightfully acknowledged and for basic food products to be made more conducive to left-handed. Nikita Dixon reports.
They've successfully campaigned for alternatives to musical instruments, sports equipment and transport, but now the Left-Handed Society has set its sights on the humble cheeseburger. You've probably bought one hundreds of times. You'd go to your local burger joint, buy a quarter pounder, unwrap it and chow down. What you might not realise is everything from the packaging to the distribution of condiments has been carefully engineered for the comfort of the right hand.
As you can see, clearly only on one side of the burger. Straight into my left hand. Already I've got it on my thumb, my palm. It's a disgrace.
Is this a real problem for businessmen like yourself?
It is if you like burgers or equality, which I do.
Left-Handed Society President Levi Dobby argues while the burgers may not appear to favour either side, the condiment weighting makes eating the burgers an uncomfortable experience for them.
Well, around 10 years ago, the companies, burger chains, that sort of thing, came up with the idea that, hey, if we put condiments on just one half of the burger, then, you know, it's going to make things easier in the sense that gravity will take over, everything will slip down towards the other side, and you don't get any sauce on your hands, assuming you're right-handed, of course. This doesn't work for us because when you hold it with your left hand, everything shifts towards your hand and you get absolutely no sauce or condiments on the right-hand side of the bun. There's a lot of misconceptions about left-handed people that there's something different about us, but we're still people. We deserve basic human rights, and I would think that having condiments on all parts of the burger is a basic human right. I would like to see either ambidextrous or left and right options for all burgers and foodstuffs. I mean, ideally we could aim to cover the entire food market, but that's another fight for another time.
A recent survey by the Ambidextrous Association shows 90% of left-handers feel unequal and at a disadvantage to those who are right-handed. We took to the streets to find out what the general public think.
First of all, are you left or right-handed? How would you feel if I told you that major burger chains are actually, about a decade ago, started engineering their burgers so they were more comfortable for people with right hands? Do you think that's fair?
I think that'd probably be a right load of crap since they're round.
What's that?
They're round. Burgers are round, right? Right?
I'm fucking sorry, but I don't understand all your questions, so maybe there is someone better in English.
All right, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think it matters.
Well, some people think it does. There are a lot of left-handers out there. They're forming a protest group, and they think that major burger chains should make their burgers slightly more weighted into the left hand. It's all to do with the way the condiments are put on the burger. It makes it more comfortable for right-handers, but not so much left-handers. Do you think they've got a case?
No.
All right.
Bizarre. Bizarre.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'll let you go.
I guess, they should make it fair at least, or so, maybe half and half. I don't know, it's weird. It's pretty weird.
Do you reckon it's weird, or do you think that they've got a point, maybe?
I don't know. It's the first I've ever heard of it, so I think it's a little weird.
Yeah. Do you think that do you reckon that they're going to be successful?
Probably. There's a lot of right-handeds out there.
Bollocks.
Well, what if as a right-handed person I needed to do something with my right hand and I swapped my burger over? Would that cause a problem?
Left or right?
Yeah, are you left or right-handed?
I'm arrived last October. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, it might do. I mean, what do you think these left-handed people have a point?
I think they should just probably learn to write and eat their burgers with their right hand like the rest of us. Don't you?
Thank you very much. As you can see, some people are supportive of the unusual campaign, and some say, well, why not just turn the burger around? Needless to say, though, the protest has certainly left its mark on society. I'm Nikita Dixon for Undercurrent.
Well, that was certainly a very interesting story, wasn't it? But did you think that a few things in that story perhaps didn't sit quite right? Well, as National Fraud Week draws to a close, and of course it is April Fool's Day today, we thought it was only fair to throw in a tricky little story there to make sure your anti-fraud mechanisms are working, and indeed there are. So apologies for pulling your leg just a little bit there. Well, that does bring us to the end of Undercurrent for this week. My name is Christy Molliker, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you next week for more of Western Australia's very own Undercurrent.
Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.